In this video, we'll talk about Ptah, he who sits on the throne. And Set is the most emphasized aspect of the devil because he uses brute force and benefits from magic to get there. We'll connect Ptah to Amun and Hephaestus. Hephaestus is another way to see his name, which is a Greek equivalent to Ptah, someone that was identified with Ptah by the Greeks. So first let's look at Logos, Logos, okay? Idol. Idle hands are the devil's plaything. Idols, idol, which also leads us to dollar, okay? And we'll go into that more, the dollar, later. So let's look at genuine, genius, and genes. Humble, which the H is defense, the M is the ark. Able, right, is a great man who seeks to take his rightful place seen as humble. No. Does the Lord of passivity want people to be humble? Yes. This also connects Asian martial arts, for the most part, to Hades. And overlaps in the passive, you should be humble, versus take your rightful place and make a difference in this evil world. All right. So Pharaoh is the king of kings. He's a national martial art king. Ptah is basically the main idea the Masons use to challenge the divine order. And we see the queen as the grand patroness of Masonry, instead of there being a defined king figure. So let's think about the Trinity, the brute force bull, the coordination leopard, the reproductive cycle. I went over the true Trinity is not the brute force bull, but it is the sun disk, it is the leopard, and it is the hawk. Jerusalem. So Melchizedek in the Bible is said to be the king of Salem. Jerusalem. Salam, Yah, Ra, Salam. It is what seems to be the Jews putting Yah before and above Ra, which is wrong and evil. I went over how his name means my king is, in parentheses, the god Sedek, or my king is righteousness. And it was the priesthood, right? His priesthood was called the holy priesthood after the order of the Son of God. So another example of how they democratized the Pharaoh's power. So going on, when we look at Saturn, he was a titan of capital, wealth. He had the sickle, right? The sickle, and the Sith, okay? He held the Sith, which goes back to Set and Star Wars, the Sith. And of course, it has to do with ill-gotten gains, agriculture, liberation, time, and his son is Pluto. So one could perhaps even connect Ptah to Saturn as well, because Ptah creates, in the Memphis cosmogony, Ptah is said to be the supreme god, and everything is backwards, and it's really Memphis that fucks things up. And the magicians want to claim that Mene actually installed Memphis into power, which is not true. It is really Heliopolis, and Horus is the only begotten son of Ra, which is the true order. All right, so moving on. I went over Jupiter and Zeus, right, the son of Saturn. And Saturn's wives are Ops, Rhea's equivalent, wealth, abundance, and resource, who was originally said to be with Conus, and Lua, destruction, dissolution, and loosening. These are his wives, or mistresses, really. His name is said to come from Satid, with years, and Sata, sowing, according to Varro, Saturnus, Latin, Satyr, rather, and satire, right? Satire. You can compare this to Ptah, he who sits on the throne, right? Satan, okay? Political satire. Think about how that relates to amalgamation, right? Saturn amalgamated with Ptah. I mean, things get really complex. The best way to explain it is they're all mixed together to give you a satanic idea, including Amen. We'll get to that second. This goes back to the Romano Capulus, which is a black hat, black, the colors of the robes, the robes worn by the priests of Saturn, and it was worn by the Catholic priests. That's what it's called, their hat, a black hat with a circular brim. All right. Saturn appears at the liver of Piacenza, a bronze model used for haru spicy, right? Satra hurls lightning from his abode, which is deep in the earth, right? He's a lord of this world, where you get the name Saturn. It has to do with the Etruscans. Okay, I know it got a little confusing. Let me just stop this clip right there for now. Anyone who teaches people about human nature, human behavior in terms of mental health, or in terms of paganism or the mysteries will not go to heaven, I promise you. This is nonsense. We can get right to the point very quickly, very easily with the martial arts systems. Right to the point. No beating around the bush, no saying in a way that's confusing, forcing people into sex cults and all this garbage. It's just deplorable. I resent these people more than anybody for doing this. There's no excuse for it. I personally will make sure that they do not reach heaven. There is nothing they can do. I don't care how much good they do. It's over for them. Period. Anyway, moving on. So we look into what is customary, right? A system, right? So stem, it stems from systeme, right? This team of the bitchy, sissy, pussy-ass motherfuckers. Okay, so the mysteries teach people in a way that fills them with substances, drugs, and dark psychology. And ultimately, it leads to a satanic lust. They have a perverted jackal look on their face over time. When you don't focus with intense martial arts intellect and spiritual intelligence, you take on this kind of geeky, sickly, jackal-faced, sick hippo-faced look. Okay? We see it all the time, this perverted, sick, piece of shit, fucking scumbag look. You know, the troll, goblin, goofy hippo, cartoon, sicko look. A sick look in their eyes, okay? And sometimes they take on this kind of out of touch, unfocused, out of touch with reality look. This is part of the works of this satanic system. It's a system based on Ptah, okay? So environment, envy, rain, meant, right? It's right there in their wordplay. They want to make an environment that reflects that they're envious of the natural martial arts order. And we think about where does this kind of tall, great martial arts genes come from? It comes from Africa. So when the Europeans talk about the Nordics who are tall, and they use that as a trait to say they're superior, you know, this is an African trait. And they tend to be tall and uncoordinated. Kind of like a woman, right? A woman can put on muscle, but at the end of the day, she's tall and uncoordinated because she is the lesser sex, with all due respect. So they take on this lesser sex bitch culture, and they bred toward it. You reap what you sow. That's what you've sown, so you reap it. You know, these shallow-ass bitches. And I'm not saying that, oh, white people are shallow. Moving on. So when we look at GID, gender identity disorder, right? It's also God, right? Wordplay applied. Dog, add, ID. We'll get into Peppy and APUP later. Okay, they want to rally the troops, right? Rely, rule, and rally are all connected. Okay, they rely on rallying everybody together because they're bitches who can't stand on their own 10 toes. Dollar, backwards, roll, add with wordplay applied. Scale, backwards, elax, elace, and elas. Okay, they lack the proper scale, so they lace people, they lace the, you know, they drug people, they fume people. We'll get into Amen, how Amen needs air in a minute. Okay, Sekhmet had orgiastic festivals, and obviously people got pregnant during these festivals, and they would bear abomination, hellspawn, in the energy of the orgiastic festival instead of having proper, divinely inspired reproductive activities. Okay. Sick mate, right? Sekhmet. Ptah's wife is Sekhmet. Okay. He is the deity of trade, craft. He's called the great magician, the lord of serpents and fish. Certainly this is the tree of knowledge in the Bible, the lord of serpents, right? Shipbuilders, stonemasons, metalworkers, the divine artificer, and of artists. Egypt is called the land of Ptah. Imhotep is the son of Ptah. Okay, instead of being the son of God, it's the son of devil. Just like Set can be seen as the son of Ptah. Because Ptah, with wordplay applied, the T is the plus. Backwards, the A becomes the I, is hip for hippo. A solid set connection. Okay. He is said to take the form of the ram of Menzies to Father Ramses II. Ramses II in the Bible, right? His name is also Seti. Seti II, I believe. Set after Set. Okay, solid connection again between Ptah and Set, and that also connects to Apep, because Set is later on associated with Apep, and certainly Pepi rises to power as the third pharaoh of the 6th dynasty, and that causes the collapse of the old kingdom and the central government at the end of the 6th dynasty. Okay, so we have the Shabaka stone, Shu-Ba-Ka, right? They put the atmosphere and the body before the Ka, the spirit. Okay, the spirit is associated with the body versus the true spirit as it is associated with the spirit double in heaven. The Shabaka stone said in Memphis to turn the Heliopolitan beliefs upside down. Okay, so we talk about sick mate, ill-gotten gains, right? Ill-gotten gains from mating with this female Sekhmet who wanted to kill everybody, and they had to put some kind of berries on the ground and lace them with alcohol to get her drunk to keep her from killing everybody. Okay, and why does she want to kill everybody? If you're married to some sick fuck like Ptah, some Masonic grand architect piece of shit that made this piece of shit world, you'd be sick in the head too. That's why all these attractive women who date the criminal class are sick in the head, ratchet-faced, hell-spawn whores that just put on a lot of makeup and, you know, have personal trainers and blah, 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 and know the tricks of the trade to try to put on the image of a sexy woman. But really, they're a Cruella de Vil, harlot, ratchet, inferior piece of shit.